people are joining?
Hey, 2 people, 6 people. A few more get in. We have 9 people so far. Thank you everyone for joining on this snowy day. What else can you do, right? All right, so just gonna introduce myself. My name is Karina. I am the visual manager here at Chalet. So some of you might have seen me here and there, and when you come in, check out the store. So what I'm talking about today is vertical hanging plants, decor, however you want to phrase it. It's not just about putting bulbs on your ceiling, but also what advantage you can take on your walls. Or is there a corner that you feel is too dark, you want to do something to it? I know a lot of you guys are working at home now, so maybe you want to spruce up your little office space. So it's not just the forgotten corner where your plants are at. I will be showing you several different ways to go about it in my little makeshift wall here for you. So I'll be talking about plants, I'll be talking about silks, also silk flowers too. So there's many ways that you can add a little interest to your home, whether it's a wall or whether you want to hang it. So the first setup that I have for you is macrame. I'm sure many of you have seen this trend all around, whether it's West Elm, whether it's Target, in your magazines, whatever it may be. Macrame has definitely come back. It's such a natural fiber. I like to pair it more with terracotta pots versus something ceramic or porcelain or anything like that. You want to stay with your natural tones when it comes to something like this, especially again, being a natural fiber, you want to kind of just stay with something basic. So right in here, this one that we have has a pocket right there. I popped in a little pothos. You definitely, if you're going to work with live plants, I recommend that you just kind of prop them in there. That way you can take them out, water them, make sure the water goes right through versus you trying to water them right on here. That could damage this, that could damage your floors, your furniture. So if you want live plants, if you want faux plants, no problem. Stick them in there, not a big deal. But when you're dealing with live plants, definitely drainage is a big thing. So this guy right here, this pothos will start trailing. This is just the start of it. Look how beautiful, how big it is for a 4-inch guy. So literally that guy just goes right into the pocket. And he's perfectly fine. Water him, let him drain correctly, dry up a little bit, and then pop him back in. For the terracotta pots right here, this is a lipstick plant. Again, this will start trailing, beautiful red flowers. This is another one that if you're looking to have plants hanging are Hoyas. I'm a big fan of Hoyas because there's so many varieties on them, but they also, some of them do tend to bloom. So if you have it in a great spot, it will bloom some flowers for you. So this is another amazing trailer for you. So this guy can easily go in here and you have yourself a little station, you can say a little plant station. I always try to go with 3s. If there's nothing wrong with, you have one right here, and you want to balance your room out, not a problem. I'm just giving you ideas for, this might not be the best one for your home. So I'm just going to show you all the different ones and you have to choose which one is best for you. So this one, but again, I usually, when I merchandise in here, create a display, I want to stay in 3s and not necessarily in 2s. Okay. And if you do, let's say you do want to do 2 things, you can, instead of having maybe this big macrame piece here, you can have a portrait, you can have a wreath, you can have something totally different, your family pictures right here, just to add a little interest, but you kind of want to break it up a little bit. So that is the first one. So this is macrame. The next one that I want to show you, I'm going to get these guys out. Is going to be more of a farm style, you can say. I know that also has become popular as well, but I'm going to do it with faux plants. And I'm going to show you that right now. Get this guy out. This wall is going to transform into many different walls. Okay, just wait for it. So this is the basket that I chose, a little darker. I think it'll stand out with your white walls, with the lighter color wood. So this guy stands out pretty nicely. And again, I have them in 3. So I can pop them in either which way. You kind of want to spread them out a little bit. It's good to have negative space, but you're showing, it's almost like a collage is what you're kind of showing with that. And what I'm going to do with these guys right here is faux silk plants. So I know some of them, when you see them, a couple things about silk plants. Let's talk about that. Yes, very true. They are low maintenance. But the thing is when you're going to start to use them, you really want to make sure that you're propping them correctly. You have to spread them. You know, it took me some time to get this guy to be open as that versus when they come in, they're like this. So remember, they have wiring in the back, so you can bend it to whatever shape, form, whatever direction you want them to face. Take the time to do that, because that's what's going to kind of make them look a little bit more natural. So I'm just gonna pop this guy right in there. I have a smaller fern. Again, just kind of open up a little bit. You want it to look, again, natural, right? You know, low maintenance, but you still got to do a little work for it. And you also want to dust them. You know, some people tend to forget about them, but make sure you are giving them a little dust here and there just to kind of, you know, a little shake to remove all that dust. You want them to look real. And I try to, when using faux plants, just use one in one container versus you trying to put so many in a container. I've seen people do ferns with cactuses and succulents, and that kind of takes away from it, because you know usually those plants don't get along well with water that way. So you just try to be a little bit more natural about it. That way you can kind of fake that they are full. So that guy can go there. And I have this other one here that can go to the middle one. So whether it's in your kitchen, again, in your office, in your living room, whatever it is, see, they don't look so bad. Or maybe even once, you know, it's warmer outside and you want to go for your patio along your fence line, whatever it may be. You definitely don't be afraid to use something as this. And you can change this up. You can give it some, for the holidays, for Christmas, you can definitely spruce these guys up and make it more holiday. So you can just keep changing them, so you're not always looking at the same thing. So that's another way they look. Again, you know, they don't look plasticky from what I'm seeing here, especially if they're hanging on a wall or hanging somewhere up high. But just, I think you could do a lot of play with them. We are currently pretty much jungle in here with live plants. Totally understand. We do tend to carry lots of silks, so lots are coming in. So if you don't find the one that you're looking for, I promise you, we will get more, and you will find it. So this is another option for you right here. Okay. Now I'm going to move away for a different. I'm going to do a gold metal. So if you have more of a modern home, this might be nice for you. And also, I think gold, it's not really like a metallic, like silver in a sense. Gold is still a natural substance, so it tends to go well with still a wood background or any kind of nature. Gold is just going to give you that one pop right there, not necessarily a metallic. So I just brought a couple different options for you. I hang this guy here for right now. Pretty low, but I got a couple other ones. So something like this. So let's talk about when you want to use metal. Again, I would not plant the plant in here. It will rust your metal, you know, the water, the moisture in there. So I just have some cardboard. Get your Amazon box, your Target box, whatever it is. Get a few chunks of cardboard, and that's what's going to prop my plant in there. Right here, I have a Philodendron Mican. Beautiful color. Sometimes it looks iridescent. And I'm just going to pop this guy out. So again, you water him, you let him drain, and then you get him back in there. And beautiful trailer. You see him, and then he can literally just go. Down here for you. There you go. Here's another one that sits flat on the wall. Again, I just kind of put a little bit of cardboard in there to kind of help him. And I actually have a pretty fern that can go in there. See that? You don't see, you even see his little rabbit's feet kind of hanging off right here. So again, don't plant in here. I just don't recommend it. But very beautiful. Look how it fills in on that. And this one can just go flat on the wall. So this guy right here is something, of course, you would hang in your ceiling. You can see there's no drainage on these guys again, but it definitely will still add a little bit of something. And for him, I have this. Slide it on there. Okay. This is a type of Pothos. Cebu blue, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. There's another beautiful trailer. So if he's hanging from your ceiling, you can see how much he's going to add. So tall floor, look at that. So he's definitely gonna cover up some space for you. I wouldn't plant, like I would just have him to the side of these guys, somewhere along that area, just because he's trailing so much. I wouldn't put something behind him or underneath him, I should say, because then you'll cover that up. So this is another option. But as you can tell, the gold works perfectly fine with the wood. If you have white walls, gray walls, totally fine. You could do modern. I think this a lot of us are kind of shifting that way. You just want a cleaner look. So metal does add to it, but when it's mixed with the greens, it really softens the whole look up. So definitely like right here. So that is the metal whole collection right there. If you have any questions, please just kind of wait till the end. I will try to do my best and answer all questions for you. So if I'm going too fast, but I just want to make sure that I show you a look that at least you feel that you can implement in your home. So the other one that I have here, let me get this guy off. And so I did a little something different with these right here. So it doesn't always have to be plants. You could definitely do some silks, especially for spring, Mother's Day, something that you want to spruce up. In the summer, if you want to, do some red roses in here, just whatever may be in season. So just kind of a little bit pastels is what I have here. We're getting springy in here. More silks are coming. This is again is something that I'll take this guy off. So again, I'm designing it, but I'm bending whatever wire I need to bend. Like you see that right there? You just kind of shape them and fix them to where you want him to. So don't be afraid to play around with some of these silks and really open them up, make sure that they look full. Look at this little whimsy guy right here. So don't be afraid to play with some silk, and literally it just goes right in here. And you can see this guy behind for me. So you can see I have a smaller one I want to show you. There we go. All right, and here's the smaller one that I have here. A few tulips, again, give you a little bit of trailing, a little shush here. Pick the colors that will go best with your wallpaper, with your pillows, whatever it is. But feel free to create something different if you feel that plants are not for you, but you want to add some kind of color to your walls or anything like that. So I think this guy works pretty well. Again, I just try to, I don't put them right next to each other. You want to give a little bit of space, negative space here, negative space here between them. And that's how you're kind of, when you're thinking of design, you want to be able to cover as much as you can, but also leave space so it just shows a little bit more. So that's designing with some silk flowers. So again, more silks are coming. We do have some collection out right now. So if you are interested, we do have some available for you. We try to be seasonal. So if you see something that, that's not in bloom, we try to start with tulips and pussy willows and things like that first in the spring, and then we'll go heavier as the summer months come in. Okay. The other thing that you can do for your wall, let's say you want something in your kitchen. I am a tea drinker, so I found these awesome ceramic, and you can plant in these guys. I would recommend you actually plant in one of these. Doesn't have drainage, but you can put stones in here. So if you want to get started with some seeds, or you want to get started with some herbs, you want to get started with anything like that, this is the time. I would definitely, we already have our seeds out. We have Renee seeds, botanical interest, and we're getting more as we speak. So definitely, if you want to get something started, you want to actually plant something, we have these really awesome ceramic, and they just go on your wall. And the seeds that I picked out are more for a tea drinker. So if you want your own little tea bar at home that you want to grow yourself, I have stevia, I have lemon balm, and I have mint. So these are nice. You can have them in your kitchen. I think this is going to hold. Or this. Oh, there you go. So you can shift them in your kitchen, have all three of this is growing, and you can cut as it's growing. You could do basil, you could do parsley, whatever you like to do. It's just a different option. Again, it doesn't have to be a faux, it doesn't have to be a plant. It could be seeds that you're growing yourself. So, or if you want to do it for your kids, that's another one. Or just tight, small spaces, and you feel that you can't plant anything, you don't have a balcony. I just want to give you as many ideas as possible out there. But I definitely love these ceramic ones. They have that hook on there. So look for stuff like this. We do have a couple different other options in case you don't like this one particular, but there's other ones that you can hang on your wall. So, and then create your own little tea bar garden or your little herb garden, whatever it is that you like to do. I mean, if you have great windows and you want to do flowers, I mean, flowers might take a while. There's not much sun for something that's going to bloom for you in that sense, but definitely you can get started with some other ones. So seeds, don't forget about them. See which one else I have for you. Glass propagation. So let me show you that, what I mean by that. So I'm sure you've seen the whole thing about propagating. So I brought a couple of options here for you. So if you're not familiar with propagating, it's basically, it's a cutting from a plant that you're trying to create that root system. So it's mostly in water, and so you're able to get into the root. I know it's hard to see here, the glare from the sun, but here are these guys right here. And I even have this one. Give me 1 second. He's a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna hang them here for right now. Okay, so if you're not into propagation, no problem. What I did here, I just got some just tulips, some silks, definitely you could just put them in there, no water needed. Or if you, by the time spring comes and your tulips, your hyacinths, those guys are popping up and you want to showcase them, get some water in here and put them in here. You could definitely enjoy that. It doesn't have to be just for like an ivy that's propagating in there. But if that's your thing, I think this is a pretty awesome guy right here. You can do a whole propagation wall. You can hang them from your ceiling. So you can do something that looks a lot cleaner because it's glass, and it's just a little pop that's gonna come out. So don't feel that when you see something that is only used for that, you can use it for other many ways to, I want to say merchandise, but you don't merchandise. But if you want to decorate your home, you have so many other options that you can use. So this is one of the new things that we're getting. We're getting new fixtures almost every day. So if you don't see something you like, I promise you, by the time we're here for Mother's Day, you're going to see most of it by then. And then we also have a new collection that we got in of hanging. I want to show you that. They come mostly in 2 colors. So if you want to do something smaller, let's say you don't want to do an actual physical larger plant, you could do something smaller. So something like this works well with air plants. And I just want to show you, you can do either maybe I shouldn't tell you which one's live, which one's a silk and which was a live air plant. So you could do something like that, very minimal. Again, you're going to go spray it, give it some water, let it get dry a little bit, and then you're going to come back and you're going to put it on this. So got the gold option, and then so this is the silk. So just for you to see that they look pretty real. So this is a silk air plant, but this is a real air plant right here, and it's actually starting to bloom. So this is a new collection that our buyers just got in, but they have more. So I want to show you all the options. I love having options. So here's the other one. And the cool thing about this one is that they come with this little pot already on there that you can put a little miniature plant on there. So let me show you one. These are our 2-inch guys. All you're gonna do is take them out, plop them in there, and he doesn't fit there. But the cool thing is, you see that hole right there? So he has drainage. So if you're a plant person, you know that's always what you're looking for. But again, you could do something faux if you don't want to do anything live, but I just think this is very nice. Or if you have a propagation that you're about to put in a plant, you know, you can have them start growing in here. So this is a nice option. You could do a couple different rings hanging right above. Again, if you have a desk that you're working at home from, or just a corner that's just too dark for you that you want to add a little bit of light. So that's a great one right there. And then we also got these in. They actually have a base. They come in 3 different sizes. So I actually have a small container. You know, these little pots, we have tons of them. This one right here is $3.99, and then just a small little plant goes right on there, and he can hang for you. So a couple different options, and again, it comes into 3 different sizes. So that's what we have here. So again, new collection, we're putting them out this morning. They range everything from $40 to $60, depending on the size you're going for. But again, they come in like small, medium, large. So that's a nice little modern look. Or if you just wanted to stand on your desk, it totally can do that as well. So this one's a plus right here. So those are some of the things that I have, different elements, different colors that can go with so many different types of houses. Since as you know, when you come in here, there's so many different rooms, so many different stories, themes that we're trying to create. So we definitely like to play, you know, what's going to work best here. This is more of a bohemian look. So of course we're going to use the macrame and things like that. Hooks for you to actually hang from your ceiling, we don't sell here. You have to go to a hardware store for that, unfortunately. But just be cautious of the weight on there, because once you water a plant, if it's real, it's going to be heavier. So you want to make sure that whatever hardware you're using is going to be able to support that for you. Trying to think of anything else that I might have missed. I'm sorry if I went fast on here for you, but I just want to make sure that you all had the idea of that. Another thing, succulents, just as a group, you always want to use something that's, if you're going to hang something, let me start with, if you're going to hang something, you're going to want to be able to see it. If you use something as, for instance, like a succulent, I have one right here. If you hang this guy, you're not really going to see him. You're only going to see maybe just a little part of that. So he's not really going to do anything for you. If anything, if he's hanging too high, you're not even going to see him at all. So you always want to choose something that's going to trail. So when you come in here and if you just ask one of us, say associate, just let them know that you're looking for a trailer. That means that he's going to basically spill for you and give you that movement that you're kind of looking for, probably for these kinds of plants. So that's something definitely to look for. We do have silks that also have a little bit of trailing. This guy, actually, I just bent him to go this way versus, you know, looking for an ivy, which you probably always see somewhere. I just wanted to make it a little bit different, but definitely don't be afraid to play with your silks on here. Or if you feel that, you know, you want to use the flowers or anything that you have in your garden come spring, summertime, definitely bring it inside your home and showcase it. I think that's the best way to decorate your home, or to add a little bit of nature. I know that's pretty much what everybody wants. They want to bring a little bit of nature into their home. So just try to stay as natural. Again, if you're using silks, don't tchotchke, don't put all this and anything extra. Just leave it as is. This looks more real by itself versus you trying to add all these other elements to it. So if you're looking for color, then I would suggest stick with silk flowers, add a little bit of greenery. But if you just want something nice and clean and green, just stay with your faux ferns and things like that. One of the ones that I actually used was a Hosta, just so I can get a little bit of pop of that white. Let me show you one more time. This one right here, I know the glare, you can see the plastic on the glare, but once it's away from the light, it blends in a little bit more. So if you're gonna do just greenery, try to add something on there. Like for instance, this Hoya had that variegation on it, so it breaks up so much green. And the same for the faux. I chose this one because it has a little bit of white on it and it breaks up all the green. So don't try to, you know, yes, plants are green, but some are chartreuse, some are, you know, a dark, some of the rubber plants are almost black. So that try to mix a little bit of something on there versus just having the whole green look there. I think I got everything I wanted to talk about. Again, metal, don't plant it. Water plants outside of that. Anything that's going to also take consideration the lighting that you have. If you're using real plants and you want to, this corner to look great, then you got to pick plants that are going to be appropriate for that corner. If not, you're just going to be replacing plants because they won't be happy there. So if you're going to use live plants, just please make sure you're looking at the lighting. Not everybody wants full sun 8 hours a day on top of them. You can burn your plants that way, or they just get drier faster. So it's a lot more maintenance, but if you're a plant person, I'm sure you love your plants. The natural look that they bring into your home, but definitely just more, I hate to say maintenance, but you do have to take care of them just so much more so they can stay healthy when it comes to that. So that's the difference between using faux and reals. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. And again, if it's a dark corner that, it's never going to see the light of day, that I would honestly would just stay with faux, or just get something like a Dracaena or a CZ. It might not be necessarily a trailer, but it's something that's going to be, that can live there and be happier. So I just want you to do whatever you're going to be happy with. Remember, it's your home, it's your environment. So whatever it is that you feel more comfortable with. So that's what I have. Start throwing questions at me and see what we have. Put this here. Let's see what we got. I hope I didn't go too fast for everybody. Okay. Any questions? No questions so far. So if you're interested in any of the products that I've used, let me know. Okay. How do you clean the clear propagation? Good question. I honestly, once you take your plant out of there, if you start seeing it get a little yellow, first of all, you only want the bottom portion, the roots in there. If you have a leaf in there, if you have anything like that, that's going to cause bacteria because it's going to start basically rotting in there. So you just want it as clean as possible because you want healthy roots. So honestly, one of the best tricks for glass that I have found is the stuff that you use to clean your dentures. I'm not sure of a brand for that, but working at a florist shop, that's how we clean our glass. I think, or if you have like a bottle, for your baby's bottle guy, you can definitely clean this guy pretty easy. But yes, if you start seeing it turn yellow, it's time to definitely change water. Okay. How much is the multi-to-wall propagation? This one's 75, just came in and I only have 2. So if you are interested, definitely come on in here. We do have other options for propagation. So it's not just hanging. We do have stuff that you can put on your table to start that. And again, it doesn't have to be propagation. It could be cut flowers. If you don't want to get your flowers in a large vase, you could do small flowers on there. I think that'd be pretty awesome to do. But thank you for that question. Who else? How do you propagate a jade plant? If I'm not mistaken, jade plants, it's like a succulent, or it's related to that family. I don't know if you need to put it in water, to be honest with you. Succulents, and again, that family, they tend to not need even soil for them to start getting those roots out. So I would not actually put the jade in water. I would try to put it in soil, and within itself, it'll start, having babies, you can say, like succulents normally do. How often would you recommend changing the water? Answer that one already. How often? It's just when it gets yellow, to be honest with you. If it's nice and clear for a week, then it's nice and clear for a week. But if it's getting dirty in 2 days, you got to change that water because you want healthy roots to be established on there. So plus it's going to look dirty. You don't want that look in your house. So it just depends on how the water is looking. Okay. I would suggest showing a variegated spider plant on the wall. Oh, I love spider plants. I think something, if you have just a hanging basket, or even like the small macrame ones that I had at the beginning of this, I think a spider plant, just make sure when you're getting anything that's hanging, let me show you what I mean. make sure that you have enough room there, that you're giving that plant, especially like a spider plant, he's just going to go everywhere. Make sure that he's going to be comfortable and he's going to be able to come out of that. A small guy, you know, in a pot size this big, he's totally going to be fine. But if he's getting so much big, some of this might be too much for him. You might need to get just a nice basic hanging macrame or hanging rope or whatever, which we do have. We have some that they don't have all this extra on there for design. So I would actually, depending on the size of your spider plant, if it's small, totally fine. But if it's getting big, go for something that's just going to give it more room and more air, definitely. What are thoughts on upside down planters? Okay, so upside down, they look great. Don't get me wrong. I've seen them. They look great. I just went to Tampa for the plant show. I saw a beautiful display. And the first thing I did was actually ask that person, I'm like, are those plants okay? Because I'm concerned. So they cannot live indefinitely that way. That's just a look, you know? So I even thought about it. I'm like, maybe when we have ladies night here, we have a bar, we're serving something, beautiful display. Is it something that you're gonna want the whole time? No, it's not going to be happy that way. It is, all the moisture is just coming down versus it actually spreading to the roots. So that's the issue. And also what I found out is that when you're hanging them upside down, you're removing a lot of the soil out of there because of course you don't want soil to fall on you for that kind of look. So they have to tighten them. They have to, you know, create them like that. If you're talking about a kokedama, which is the ball, the moss, which is this way and the plant's growing this way, that's a whole different thing. It can totally live that way because you're soaking the roots correctly. It's growing naturally versus it being literally upside down. So there's different ways about it. I don't want you to think that I'm saying it's wrong. It's just your plant might not be happy in that sense. So if it's completely upside down where the roots are above it, it's not going to be happy. It can only be like that for about a week before you start seeing some stress on that plant. But if it's something like a kokedama or something that is on a plank, like you see a lot of staghorn ferns, that's totally fine because you could take it off, water very well on that moss. It's going to absorb all that water and just let it dry, and then you can hang it back up. But it's a pretty interesting question that you had there. What else do you guys have for me? No more questions. All right. Well, feel free again. Oh, I got another one. How do you plants together in a container? What I would recommend is when you're putting, if you want different plants in one container, they have to be, they're going to need the same water. They're going to need the same, make them feel like they're going to be happy. For instance, something like a calathea, who always wants moisture, always wants to be, is prone to spider mites. So you don't want it to go dry. You don't want to pair that off with a cactus because cactus doesn't want water. It wants to be dry. It wants to be in that element. So if you're going to pick something for in a container, pick things that are going to get along together. There's going to need the same requirements, the same sun, the same water. And it's going to be, that's going to thrive for you versus you putting stuff that just don't relate. They don't want the same amount of water or light or whatever it may be, or some don't even want humidity. So just be careful with that. But just when you come in, just ask us and, you know, we can recommend what would be better friends. Is what you want to do for a successful container. It's just my opinion. For if you're doing something for outside, once you get out there for your patio, you know, your porch pots, you know, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more just because of the air that's circulating out there. With annuals, it's totally different versus actual house plants, who all of them are very picky, from alocasias to anthuriums. You know what I mean? Everybody wants a certain environment to thrive on. Do you have any hints on growing aloe vera? Aloe vera is actually one of the easy plants to grow. It is finicky. I would suggest you let it go dry before you water it again, because some people tend to overwater it and it starts to almost rot. It's a bit, for the most part, aloe vera is pretty easy to maintain. Put in a sunny spot. This is someone that's gonna want some sun. Because if not, he's just gonna kind of like collapse. He is a very drama queen, you know, on the side there for you. So let it dry. But give it some sun. Give it a little bit of something. yeah, it seems to get floppy. Yeah, I think it's when you're not giving it enough sun and you're overwatering it. Again, you gotta let it go like dry before you even attempt to get in there. So sometimes you gotta get your finger in there. I know it looks a little dry, but maybe at the bottom it's still holding moisture. That's why drainage is so important. So if you don't have drainage, water your plant outside, let it drain, let it sit out there for a while, let it do its thing, let it get settled, and then put it back in there. But if there's no way that that water can evaporate, or just the air itself kind of just sucking, helping with that water, then it's gonna just sit there and rot, and it's always gonna be wet. And that's where you get a lot of plants that flop over, or if you start seeing them get yellow, it's just too much water for them. So good question. What else we got? Any more? Okay, can you put orchids in a vertical planter? I actually seen orchids do that. I mean, technically, they grow out in nature, kind of in a tree. They're propped, you know what I mean, in a vertical look. It's not something that I would do upside down, but I actually have seen them in the vertical. If you put moss on them, almost like again to the staghorn fern or to the kokodama, where you can hold their roots together. I mean, orchid roots are kind of out. That's how they breathe. That's why you don't overwater orchids. Or sometimes you do their containers, they have holes in them. It's because they need to air out. They really don't want to be sitting in water. So yes, you can definitely do orchids in that for sure. Have you done anything with living wall planters? I have actually. Last year when I did this class, I actually did a living wall container. So I was able to have, you know, all the pieces in there. That's something where succulents work well with. Ferns, something you don't need a trailer for those. So those are easier because they're literally, let me just show you. It literally is going to be this way versus something like that. So these guys hold up well. They're not going to fall over. So that's something where I would definitely recommend more of these kinds of plants. Again, ferns also, they give you a little wind seat, but they're not like trailing down. They're not on top of each other. So certain plants work best than others. And if people ask, you know, how do you take care of that? You know, here I was able to just to get a hose on it and water because, you know, we're in a glass house. But in your home, you will have to physically take that down, water it, just because you don't want to damage your walls, you don't want to damage your floors, you don't want to do any of that. So it's just a little bit more maintenance, but they work pretty well. I don't have any in stock at the moment. We usually get them more in the spring, summers when you're going to see them in here. But I did do one. I think it held about 20 plants when I created that last year. So it's on YouTube. So feel free to check that one out. Okay. What else we got? Okay, so far I think I answered all your questions. Feel free to send some. I'm here all the time, practically. So if you have any questions for me or any of our sales staff, they're pretty knowledgeable on what's going on. Don't forget, we still have a plant sale going on. I have plants literally everywhere that I merchandise them. So I feel like you can find something. Because even if it's, I know that we're just talking about vertical, you know, wall hanging, you know, decor today, but even if you just want something tall just to cover a certain area of your house, you know, we'll definitely have so many options for you. So take advantage of that. Because once our furniture starts coming in, you're not going to see as many houseplants as you see currently out there, but we will be making room for more of the silks that are coming in, flowers and plants. So you'll have other options for that. Great presentation. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm sorry it's bad weather, but hey, you know, at least you learned something and hopefully you get to create something in your home. And if you do, tag us. I would love to see what you guys created, whether it be with the pieces that you see here or just something that you decided to do something totally different. Okay, so my name is Karina, visual manager. So you see me going everywhere. So just come around and ask any questions. Oh, I got one more. Can I put anything in a pot with a mother-in-law tongue? So a Sansevieria, the ZZ would be fine with a Sansevieria. Even Dracaenas would be fine with a Sansevieria. They tend to not need full sun, though I do feel that, you know, Sansevierias do well with, you know, morning sun. Again, I wouldn't do like a southern sun. You can fry them. But they take the same amount of water. So either Dracaena, a CZ, any of those guys would be totally happy with the mother-in-law tongue that you have. What else you got? Waiting. Okay. All right. I think so. Feel free to come email me, karinam@chaletnursery.com. What is a CD?
You mean ZZ?
A ZZ, sorry, is Z. The actual botanical name, I can't think of it.
It's like Zenzaveria, something.
Not the actual ZZ. I wish I have one in here for you. Actually, our glass house, how the way that I like to merchandise it is I try to put plants to relate to each other. So when you come into the glass house and you see our Sansevieria area, you're going to see our CZs. You're going to see the Dracaenas because I tend to have those grouped together because of the lightings that they would need. It's literally a Z and a Z. It's the short name for it. The botanical name, I can't think of it right now. I am so sorry. But it's a very long name that starts with a Z. But just a short name for it is literally, it's just two Zs. And that's what it's normally known as. So, and we have the CZ Raven too. But if you guys love to collect rare plants, we have those guys in stock as well. And hopefully we'll get other types of CZ. So if you are a plant collector, I wish I am. So I always try to find something new. But good questions you guys have had today. Thank you so much for joining today. So yeah, I believe this would be on YouTube for Chalet. So if you guys missed something and you guys want to come back to it, you can go back and watch it, or you can just come see me and everybody else here at Chalet and just ask us the questions. That's what I have. Thank you. Thank you.